Who or what do you worship? This question often gets posed by Christians, public figures, and it's been popularized by someone like Jordan Peterson in a very Jungian notion of something is always at the top of your value hierarchy. And the idea is whatever is at the top will control you and affect how you treat all the lower goods. Whatever you treat as the highest good affects your relationship with all the relationships on that hierarchy. So, the point of Christianity, and popularized by St. Augustine, is to make God your highest affection, because we are pulled away by things we put all our psychological energy towards, whether it be money, whether it be lust, whether it be popularity, whether it be an object, any sort of you can say you can worship art, you can worship relationships, you can worship sport. These are all goods. These are all beautiful, good things. And this is the idea of the creation becoming the highest good, and thus becomes idolatry, because you're worshipping the creator and not you're worshipping the creation and not the creator. And this is not just an arbitrary you must worship God, but the idea is that this causes a spiritual sickness. So for example, if you worship the highest good, and we call that good God, and God is good in an ineffable sense, we cannot fully encapsulate or fully articulate what this good entails, but we know it has been revealed to us through Christ. And the highest virtues of love and sacrifice and self-restraint, these sort of virtues are to be uncompromised at all costs. And when you are offered a lower good, such as a sexual temptation, such as a lump sum money put in front of you, do you compromise the highest virtues for the sake of these lower temporary objects or sensations? And this is the spiritual sickness. And once you start worshipping any object in the world, you start losing sight of that spiritual journey towards goodness. And God's grace is manifesting itself in our ability to apprehend beauty, or to apprehend virtue, apprehend the higher order goods. And as we climb up those goods, we are to realize that they are all made sense through Christ as the Logos. So as soon as you realize that you compromise that journey to God, climbing the ladder, as soon as that journey is compromised, you have now begun to worship something temporary. Your natural affection and your natural love for the good has been distorted. And then you begin to fight for the temporary thing. You will lie for money. You will manipulate for sexual pleasure. You will use relationships to obtain people. You will fight to obtain money. And the idea is that you are making these things, you're trying to make these things yourself. There's a desire to store up for yourself. But the highest good, which is God, the Trinity, is a good of triune love. And it's love that is both separate and perfectly unified. So there's a separation of person. There are multiple persons, but perfectly unified. And this is how God has taught us to love our neighbor as ourselves. So there's a clear separation of person. We love an other, but the other is completely united to us. So there's no owning of someone, but there's a complete union and separation. So we want to store up for ourselves objects in the world. And the way we can overcome this sickness is by worshipping God, who collects all these goods unto himself, so that no thing or person can become our highest affection, such that it can pull us away, and it leads into narrowness. You fixate on something. You fixate on a lesser good. But when you worship the highest good, as Christ revealing God himself, you have an openness to be the priest of all of God's goods that have been provided for human beings. So Christianity is trying to overcome this sickness. Our natural love has been distorted by things that we try to store up for ourselves, or people we try to store up for ourselves. And when we love God, and this is why the two greatest commandments are this: when we love God with all our heart and all our mind and all our soul, we will learn how to love others as ourselves. And thus we treat all of God's creation with proper behavior, and we become the true priests of God's creation in us possessing the image of God, having our agency and freedom as a person, but yet so separate as a person, but yet perfectly unified in the Logos, which is Christ, that makes all of creation function. So that sounds very wishy-washy, very complicated, but it's very simple. Make God your highest affection, and all will be made right in the world. Make God your highest affection, and those things that you thought you love, you will now love properly.